Japan's most prolific director, Akira Kurosawa, is also considered by many as the least Japanese director, due to his films being heavily inspired by Western films and literature, both thematically and stylistically. A big inspiration for Kurosawa was Shakespeare, with two of his films, Ran and Kumanosujo, Throne of Blood, being adaptations of Shakespeare's plays King Lear and Macbeth. A feature of Shakespeare's works that Kurosawa uses particularly often is dynamic nature, with the natural world not just being scenery, but a reflection of the characters that inhabit it, and/or a driving force in the film's story. Listen to Charlotte Scott from Goldsmith College explain how nature is portrayed within a scene from Shakespeare's King Lear, and watch how the same scene is told in Kurosawa's Ran.
The most famous example, perhaps, or the most instant example you might bring to mind is in King Lear. There, when Lear, sent out by his daughters, mad, half naked, and intensely distressed, you see him howling on the heath, howling to the natural world, to the elements, and to the boundless intemperance of nature. There, of course, the natural world is at its most significant as a realization of emotional distress or psychological distress.
As King Lear, or in this case Lord Hidetora, sits atop the hill, driven mad by his children's betrayal, his turbulent mind is reflected by the howling winds and the incoming storm. This is just an example of wind being used to make a scene more dynamic and reflect Kurosawa's characters' emotions. But other types of weather make important features as well, such as fire, snow, and maybe most importantly, rain. Film theorist Stephen Prince notes that rain in Kurosawa's films is never treated neutrally. When it occurs, it is never a drizzle or a light mist, but always a frenzied downpour, a driving storm. These driving storms are present in both Ran and Throne of Blood, along with Kurosawa's most celebrated film, Rashomon, and make massive impacts on the stories of each film. The storm I mentioned earlier isn't just a reflection of Hidetora's emotional state, but also a driving force in the film that forces Hidetora and his companions to seek shelter and meet another important character. Rain and storms in Throne of Blood are common, and occur whenever something evil is afoot, such as when Washizu, modelled on a Macbeth, returns to the woods to meet an evil spirit. The scene from Macbeth that this one is based on also occurs during a storm, so it makes sense that there's a storm in Throne of Blood too. However, Shakespeare's influence on Kurosawa extends beyond just Ran and Throne of Blood, especially in regards to dynamic nature. As mentioned before, rain is an important feature of Rashomon, responsible for the protagonists gathering under the titular gate for shelter. Beyond just weather, another component of nature that is an important feature of both Shakespeare and Kurosawa's works is the mysterious forest. In Throne of Blood, there are multiple scenes where Washizu meets an evil spirit within the forest, and eventually, as in Macbeth, the forest is uprooted to siege Washizu's castle. In Rashomon, the major events of the story all take place within a forest, where truth is blurred beyond recognition. Whether it be wind, flame, forest or rain, dynamic nature is an important feature in the works of Kurosawa, and Shakespeare's to blame.